Welcome to the Industry Angel podcast. This series of episodes were live streamed on June 19th and the audio was downloaded as podcast episodes just for you. Stay safe, my friends, and keep in touch. I can now welcome the CEO from the Customs House. This man gives so much of his time as an active school governor, chair of the Chloe and Liam Forever Together Trust. He was made an MBE in 2010 for his services to Northeast culture. He spends 7 weeks a year dressed as a woman. Hands down, the most witty, handsome, and intelligent Ray I know. Welcome to the Industry Angel, Mr. Ray Spencer, MBE.
Hello, thank you. Hello, everybody. Ian, you need to go to Specsavers if you think I'm attractive.
Well, you almost...
Gillian was great, wasn't she? Gillian, no. I'm feeling I need to sit like this.
Feeling good?
Yeah.
Well, Ray, I did say the most witty, handsome, and intelligent Ray I know.
All right. Okay, yeah. Okay.
I only know two Rays.
Yeah. Poor soul, the other one that you know.
Yeah, he's probably not watching anyway. Have you been on your Xbox, Gaffer?
Well, you know, when we got all of this lockdown thing, as you know, when you did one of these first ones, I said, well, actually, the kit I have at home I'd not be able to speak to you in an audible way. But now, as the 3 weeks turned into 3 months, I now have the kit from the offices now at this dressing table. It's Trisha's dressing table that I'm at. And I stole my son's Xbox headset to be able to use it. I know I'm evil. So,
sorry, I'm laughing because you remember we spoke last time from that position. I asked if you were on the toilet.
Yes, you did. Because of the, yeah.
So, and you
a screen to give a bit of privacy and to allow other people to use this room without me taking it over as my office all the time.
Trisha's not lying in bed with the bacon sandwich and a cup of tea, is she?
If only. She'll be busy being very homeschooling at the minute downstairs.
Homeschooling, yeah. Well, we all know all about that. And you've even put your dazzly shirt on today. I love that because the light's sparkling and catching it. You look like you should be on stage, right?
I thought you needed a lift.
Thanks, mate.
In front of my butterfly screen, yeah.
So what I'd love to hear is we've heard a lot. I don't know if you managed to catch some of the speakers today. We've heard a lot from how to transform with heart from Adrienne this morning. We've had techniques from Gillian there about resetting yourself and getting yourself in control. We've heard from John Devitt about the impact on business and employees and the proactive approach they've took. But I'd love to speak to you today, Ray, because I've watched from afar about some of the things that the Customs House has done. Obviously, the Customs House is a charity and relies on bums on seats, essentially, and those bums, unfortunately, couldn't be on seats. They're actually now at home on their own sofa seats, and you've been doing a lot of online stuff, haven't you, to try to keep the wheels turning?
Yes, I wasn't able to catch all of this morning's because I was in a finance meeting, which we seem to be having more regularly than usual. As you pointed out, the whole of the theatrical business and art centres like ours are closed, and if, like many businesses, if you're not making an income and still spending money, times are difficult. But we still wanted to have a presence in the community. So we've been putting on a number of things, some to encourage people to donate, and some, like we have a masterclass this afternoon, to help our young people still be the best that they can be. So we've had actors doing workshops on Shakespeare, we've had break dancing, we've had musical workshops. And it's all about continuing to say, although we can't welcome you into our space, we can come into your space and we can still interact with you. And we've been very fortunate to have people like Joe McKeldry who said, look, Ray, I will stream and get people to donate, and that'll come to the Customs House to help you during these times. We've had a number of wacky events, like we've had a ghost hunt around the.
I saw that with David Hopper last week. Yeah.
Sunday we're doing one where David is going to be talking to a lot of people who have appeared in our Pantos over the years and talking about their stories. We've done the quiz with a host of celebrities. So a lot of different people have come forward and said we're going to support Custom House, and we're very, very grateful, and we're very, very lucky. But a difficult time for everybody, and being positive and getting back to work and using those tips Gillian had will be something we'll all have to do as we move forward.
It was interesting that the last couple of speakers, I think one of the key takeaways from me was that when our teams return to work, it's not so much a matter of just saying, right, okay, get yourself in on Monday, I'll see you there. It's, John mentioned maybe a phased return for some people, and having a procedure and policies on what return looks like. And something really interesting, what he said was health and safety awareness can often have been forgotten about over this last few months, and it's trying to re-educate and give our staff a bit of a refresher of what the policies and procedures are.
Well, we were in the finance meeting today, which I've just left. We were talking, because they also are HR. We were looking at the length of time we would need to bring the staff back before we started generating money. So get them off furlough and get them back into the organisation. And we reckon we'll need a fortnight. We'll need a fortnight because how we operate as an organisation will have changed. The physical space, how we move people around the building, but also to get them up to speed with the skills they had when they walked away 3 months ago. To get them up to wearing different gear and understanding the rules around personal protection, and understand we'll be working in a different way. We're going to have pods of people, whereas you might work with a different group of people every day. You're going to be working with the same group of people, a small pod. And so if anybody needs to be isolated and the pod has to isolate, we can bring another pod in, and it's not affected the whole team across the whole of the organization. So the way we're going to work is new to me and everybody else, and we're going to have to spend at least a fortnight explaining those changes to our operational staff. So it's going to be a big mountain to climb just to get us ready to welcome people back into the space. But it's really important when you're bringing hundreds of people, because it's anti-intuitive to us, this whole COVID-19, because our measure of success is bums on seats, as you said before, and packed houses are what we say is the best result. Well, of course, it's the worst result at the moment. So we need to put back confidence in users of the building that we've done all we can with our staff and the physicality of the place to make it a safe place that allows them to return. But that's going to take quite a bit of thought, investment and training to have our people ready to welcome, and please let it be soon, welcome people back to our business.
So have you had to take external assistance for that, Ray? Because I think there is a level of expertise required. We have got people like John who talk a lot about people's alcohol consumption, for instance, that might have increased over lockdown, getting people back into routines and things like that. So have you had to take external advice in, or have you got a good team there that can put this together?
None of us are as clever as all of us, so we're always very keen to talk to other people, and there's a number of forums that have been set up for people who are in our sector to be able to chat through similar issues, because we're all dealing with a similar set of circumstances. I think the worst thing for me is what it has done to everybody's outlook. I'm sure everybody out there has high days and very low days. I go from saying, all right, we've cracked that, we move forward, to, oh my giddy aunt, this looks like we're going to go over the edge of a cliff. And I found that hard, and for the leaders out there, having to put on the positive leadership face. We will have better tomorrows. Life will be good. The sun will shine. Don't worry. Yeah, we'll get over that. Both to customers, to staff, to stakeholders, to be that positive to the kids, because the kids, it's definitely affected our children in their perception of life. This is a dark time. So sometimes I'm sure people out there feel the same, like, oh, can somebody just take this weight off me back and park it
Mhm.
somewhere for a while? So that's what I've found really difficult because I'm a people person. I just love people. I like to give people a hug when I see them, and not you, obviously, Farrar, but pleasant people. Um, and I miss that. I really, really miss that human connection.
I think, is we do miss a lot of things, and even things like, going to the pub, going to restaurants. I know you love to go to restaurants, going to the match, going watching football. And we also love things like the pantomime, for instance, which is a massive, massive community event around Christmas. I mean, we talked about you wear a dress for 7 weeks of the year, and that's because you play Dame Bella in our pantomimes. And I say ours because it is ours. It's our communities. People are going to be even concerned about things like that, which is the norm for them, things to look forward to. People will be concerned that they're going to have to miss out on these things.
I think Christmas is all about traditions. People
Mm-hmm.
do certain things on certain days that, they get together on Christmas Eve and then they do that, or the third Tuesday between Christmas. People do things as families, as larger groups. And certainly our pantomimes sell a year in advance of the pantomime. So people come out of one and book the next. We have got real issues, as the whole industry has. And if you look what's happening across bigger theatres than ours, people are now saying, well, we're not going to do anything until the end of November. And there's a reason it's the end of November, because people are desperate to get the pantomime on. Not least of all because for most theatres, it represents at least 40% of its turnover will
Mm-hmm.
be around the Panto period. So moreover, for us as an organization, is that the community see it as their big night out. It's their big celebration of the year, when there's very few forms of theatre where you can bring Nana and the 3-year-old all together and you enjoy it as a family, and it hits on different levels. And the thought of that not happening is one I can't bear. I can't bear the thought of it not happening. But the reality is it may have to happen in a different way. It may not be able to have the number of people in it. It may not be able to have the number of audience in it. We simply don't know. And that's a tremendous frustration, isn't it? When
Yeah.
you can't affect the business parameters you're working in, when you can't affect change in the environment that you're currently in. And that's so frustrating. You can't just say, well, we'll do it this way, because you're waiting all the time to be told what the rules are and to be instructed what you'll be able to do within those rules. So very, very frustrating times. But I hope the Panto gets on, because it's a cliff edge if it doesn't get on for most theatres.
Cliff edge in terms of cash flow, Ray?
Absolutely. Yeah. The thing about all Pantos is you've got to invest in them substantially before you get the return, like any business, before you get the return at the other end. And there's a little gap there between all of that investment and all of that return. And if we don't get that return, it's the biggest funder. It's bigger than any other funding we get for arts and culture. For those who don't know the Customs House, we're not just a theatre. We work with a lot of over 25,000 young people out in the community, and older people and people from vulnerable communities. But the pantomime puts hundreds of thousands of pounds into that. And if that was to go, our whole raison d'etre would be in doubt as an organisation. It is as serious as that. And I'm not the first one to say that. The whole country's facing huge problems in sector, but in other sectors as well. I'm not saying we're a special case, but I think we have a good case to say, coming out of this dark time, something that lifts spirits, something that allows us to collectively enjoy, whether it's a football match or whether it's a tennis match or whatever it is, where people can go and be part of, or theatre, then we need that. We really, really need that coming out of this terrible time.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the budget for your dresses is going to be increasingly, well, it might actually have to decrease, this year, because I know you're a big fan of changing very often. But you've won awards for all that. wardrobes.
It was really interesting to 3-4 years ago that we won. There's something called the Great British Panto Awards, which were a virtual thing this year. And we were, for our design and our costumes, we were up against many theatres. There's 250 who enter, and we were down to the last 5. And one of them was the London Palladium, and we won. So it was a massive feather in our cap to do that, and we've been nominated in other categories as well over the years. So for a little theatre to keep its place against these bigger ones is really, really, it's good. It's a nice feeling to succeed in whatever field of business you work in. But this year is going to be a struggle, and I hope this year it happens because we've got a new designer on board who's just a young, aspiring creative, and the self-employed have been battered through COVID, absolutely battered. So the young team of creatives that are working on this year's pantomime are desperate that we can continue to fund their contracts to get the show on in December. It's a big part of their careers, their emerging careers. So there's a lot riding on it, and I just hope collectively we'll find a way forward where we're able to do it.
I think it's hard as well, some of the musicians, dancers, ballet, that kind of thing, they would have been right now in some really fantastic shows in some really prestigious places, and their careers have literally been put on hold.
I think, interestingly, for a place the size of the Customs House, David Hopper, who is an actor that appears in our pantomime, he would have been playing the West End in September, and that's gone, gone. That's something you aspire to do, and it's gone. But we will be able to support those people once we get up and running, because unlike the big ones, unlike the West End, and it will take them months to turn it around. It will take them months to turn it around, because they will have to rehearse the whole cast again to get it up to speed. If you're something like Matilda, which involves kids, you're going to have to find those children who are at the right size at that time. Normally it's a conveyor belt. Well, all that stopped. So that's why Cameron McIntosh and Lloyd Webber said no shows will happen till next year, because it'll take them ages to put that all back together. Whereas us, you say tomorrow night, if Boris comes on, as he has a habit of doing, and saying, look, I've changed your mind, open your theatres tomorrow, I could ring Jason Cook, who does fantastic comedy nights at the Customs House, and say, Jason, we can open. And Jason would be there the night after, and we'd have a show on. I could ring Joe McElderry and say, Joe, you've got a gig, come down and sing now. And he would. And we're very lucky that we've got support of people like that. But they need to work and have an audience. They're desperately missing it.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to come down and wear a dress again. So, you mentioned there about the kind of pressure on your shoulders there, Ray, as a leader, and have that kind of mask and that, stiff upper lip and being the supportive and the one that people look to. You've actually, what you just said there is, it's not just the team and employees, it's actually the community, and everybody has that pressure on leaders like yourselves in these establishments. So how do you do that? Do you communicate with your stakeholders and the customers a lot?
One of the things I did during lockdown, we have a friends organization, Friends of the Customs House, and we all took a wad of names and rang them, and I spoke to about 55 people with my section of people to ring and just say how you're doing, what you're doing, anything we can do to help you. And they were really, really pleased and surprised that we'd taken that opportunity to connect in that way. And we continue to send out all of the usual emails, and social media has become so important with getting the message out there. So we try and keep in touch as much as we can with both our customers and creatives, because there's a lot of people look to us for employment. And we've had things for the staff, I'm sure everybody else has, where we've had sort of fun opportunities for the staff to meet and talk. And one of the things we've set up recently is a number of working parties for the staff to be involved in shaping our work practices when we eventually reopen, and so they have a say in and an understanding of how we're going to work. So they're not being told to do something; they're part of shaping that thing. So we're trying on all levels to keep everybody jolly and happy and bouncing along.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people trying to do exactly just that, and I think sometimes wearing a mask is hard, isn't it? Do you take it off or just cry in the shower, Ray? Sometimes, when does it creak?
Sometimes I revert to a Spanish philosopher called Rioja, and oops, I've lost you. But he and I spend some time together. So sometimes I'll have a glass of red, and I'm not saying that's the answer for everybody. I'm just saying that sometimes it's the answer for me. It's a very strange time, and I'm so blessed to live in South Tyneside and to be able to walk our beach or go through the parks. One of the great things has been seeing the squirrels and hearing the birds sing. I'm not rushing somewhere. I'm going out for that walk to just enjoy the time with Trish and the kids and the dog, just to feel a bit of positivity and switch off the rest for a little bit. So we're very lucky to be able to do that. It was fantastic on Sunday. I'm sure that people have had the experience. Our oldest is 26, and she's been absolutely on the line with following the rules. So for 3 months we hadn't seen her. I'm sure this is happening right across the country. Well, we've seen her sort of at the bottom of the garden waving, but I've not held her. And, as I said, I'm a people person. So she arrived on Sunday to come in to the house and be part of our bubble. So Sunday was just lovely. It was lovely. She cried, I cried, her mum cried, the other kids cried. We sat down, we drank wine, and it was like all of this was happening. All of the outside world had gone, and it was about family. And I think that's something else that we've all realized, that our businesses are so important to us, and we put in so much energy into our business. But this has made us, it certainly made me stop and think, what's in this room now is what's really important. So
Fantastic. Well said, Ray. Now, before you leave us, we've got 5 minutes or so. Can you remember on my 100th episode at the Customs House, you and I, is it in the Dalton Suite out the back? Is that what you call it?
The Dalton Suite, yeah.
Dalton Suite.
Above the old mortuary.
Yes, indeed. And we did a quick fire quiz about pantomimes.
I remember that.
I've got something else for you.
Oh my giddy aunt.
Right, here we go. Let me have a look. I've got 3 quizzes you can choose from. Okay. The collected works of Fyodor Dostoevsky.
Absolutely love it.
Bagpipers of the 1300s.
Yeah.
Or a classic British comedy.
I'm very into Russian literature, so I might make you go with that.
I haven't got that one prepared. I was hoping you'd say
all right, classic British comedy it is.
Right, okay, we'll get rid of that one. Right then, here we go. What cheese does Wallace from Wallace and Gromit particularly like?
Wensleydale.
Oh, nicely done. Who was the British comedian that wrote and starred in Acorn Antiques?
It was, I cried when she died, Victoria Wood.
Well done. What did Tiswas stand for?
Tiswas. Don't know.
Right, someone in the comments has to have a guess at that one. What was the name of the jester in Rent a Ghost?
Jangles.
Jangles the jester?
I don't know.
Come on in the comments if you know. Who played Baldric in Blackadder?
Oh, Tony used to be chairman of Equity. Can't remember. Robinson.
No. Yes, well done. Which carry-on actor starred in the 70s sitcom Bless This House?
Sid James.
Sid James. And does he haunt Sunderland Empire?
Well, he died there. I don't know. Depends on who you ask.
Name the young ones.
Rick Mail. And that one. There's the one that's married to a fab person. whose name I can't remember, and the one that I can't remember them. I could see them in my head. I just can't
see
remember
them.
the name.
Well, shall I tell you one? Everyone, I'll tell you the other ones.
Edmund,
Edmund,
yeah.
Nigel Planer,
Yeah.
Christopher Ryan,
He's
and the one that everyone forgets, Alexei Sale.
Oh yeah, Alexei Sale.
Mm. Who was the lead character in Death Do Us Part? Till Death Do Us Part. The character, West Ham supporter, bald head.
Oh right, yeah. It was, yeah, yeah. Nah,
Grant's just done.
I've it. Well done.
Grant, yes. Can you give us an "Are you being served" catchphrase?
I'm free.
Nicely done. And see, if you know this one, I'll be impressed. What is Trigger's real name in Only Fools and Horses?
Do you mean the actor's name or?
No, his real name. So he's not called Trigger.
I worked with the actor.
Did you?
Yeah, on Births, Deaths and Marriages. It was shot in Witten Gilbert. I can't remember. Horse.
He was called Colin Ball.
Colin what?
Colin Ball was his real name in The Only Fools and Horses, and they just called him Trigger. And it wasn't Dave, that was Rodney was called Dave, wasn't it? Right then, Ray, well done. Yeah, I don't know how many you got right. I never recorded that. Does it really matter? Tell us in the comments if you did well or not. Before you go, you know what I'd love you to leave us with? You know, when Dame Bella sees someone she hasn't saw for a while, what does she say? What's her little catchphrase?
She says, "Hey, where you been? What you been doing? Who you been doing it with?"
I love it. Thanks so much for that, Ray. I love you. I'll see you very soon for a big hug, I hope.
Thank you, everybody. Keep safe, and we'll get through. Bye now.
Take care, Ray. And there he is, my friend Ray Spencer. Ray Spencer, king of South Tyneside, surely. Right, that's that quiz out the way. Well done. Sponsor Spencer. Yeah, thanks for that, Grant.